You ever watch a construction crew put up a roof and just wonder how it all comes together so fast? It looks pretty complicated, right? But the secret is actually a really simple, really powerful system. So today we're going to break down the whole process, from the skeleton all the way to the skin. Let's dive in.
So what is that secret? I mean, how do you get a perfectly angled, incredibly strong roof structure built in like a fraction of the time it used to take? Well, the answer is a little piece of engineering that pretty much revolutionized modern construction.
And here it is, the trussed rafter. These pre-made wooden triangles are the real game changer. Because they're built in a factory, they are super precise, they go up incredibly fast, and they actually use less wood than building a roof the old-fashioned way, piece by piece. This is how you get a solid roof done right.
Okay, so let's start with phase 1, building the skeleton. This is the foundation, the framework that gives the entire roof its shape and, more importantly, its strength.
So, a trussed rafter is basically a pre-engineered frame built in the shape of a triangle. And there's a reason for that. The triangle is one of the strongest shapes in all of geometry, which is exactly why these trusses can handle the massive weight of the roof covering with amazing stability.
And you know, the installation process is surprisingly straightforward. It all starts with getting a perfectly level base, which is what those wall plates are for. Then, each truss is lifted and fixed right into place, kind of like setting up a row of identical skeletons. Once they're all standing, bracing is added to connect them into one single, super rigid structure. Then, a final check just to make sure everything is perfectly aligned.
All right, now that we've got the skeleton, let's talk about the blueprint. And look, this isn't just some boring math class stuff. This is the secret code that guarantees every single piece fits together just right, giving the roof all its strength.
So, how do you make sure there's no guesswork? Because in construction, precision is everything. A tiny error, even just a little mistake in length, could compromise the whole structure. There's got to be a way to nail it every single time.
And there is.
It's a fundamental trick from geometry that you probably learned in school, the Pythagorean theorem.
Yep.
This classic formula is the key to figuring out the exact length of any angled rafter, as long as you know the roof's height and its width.
Let's see how it works with a super simple example. Imagine the vertical height of our roof, that's called the rise, is 3, okay? And let's say the horizontal distance it covers, the run, is 4. We now have the two sides we need to find the length of that angled piece. You plug those numbers into the formula and, boom, you get an exact rafter length of 5, every single time. No guesswork, just a perfect fit. It's just a beautiful example of how ancient math is still the backbone of our modern buildings. This math also helps figure out the roof's pitch, which is just a fancy word for its steepness. And a steeper pitch isn't just about looks. It's absolutely critical for getting rain and snow to slide right off, which helps prevent leaks and water damage. So, with the skeleton built and the blueprint confirmed, it's finally time to add the skin. This is the outer layer, the part that protects the entire structure from whatever the weather throws at it. So what are your options for this protective skin? The choice you make here is going to affect not just how long the roof lasts and what it looks like, but even how energy efficient your home is. Two of the most common choices you'll see are shingles and tiles. Shingles are usually made of asphalt, and they're a great, versatile, cost-effective option for most sloped roofs. Tiles, on the other hand, are often made from clay or concrete. They offer incredible durability and that classic, really premium look. But what if your roof could do more than just keep you dry? That's where things get really interesting with something called Building Integrated Photovoltaics, or BIPV. These are basically high-tech roofing materials that are also solar panels, so you're seamlessly integrating power generation right into the skin of your roof. I mean, the advantage here is huge. Your roof stops being just a passive shield, and it becomes an active part of your home's energy system. It protects you from the rain while it's literally making clean electricity and saving you money. Pretty cool. Now, it doesn't matter what material you pick, shingles, tiles, whatever. Creating a watertight seal always follows the same basic principles. You always start at the bottom and work your way up, so gravity works with you. Each new layer has to overlap the one below it, creating a clear path for water to run off. Then you fix everything down securely and do a final check of the alignment to make sure you've got a perfect weather-tight finish.
Okay, we've covered the skeleton, the blueprint, and the skin, so let's wrap things up by looking at the most important lessons, the do's and don'ts to make sure a roof is built right every single time.
This chart really sums it all up. On one side, you have what you're aiming for: straight, level, strong, and with no gaps. And on the other side, you see the common mistakes.
an incorrect angle, sloppy attachments, or the wrong spacing. They might seem like small things, but they can lead to huge problems like leaks or even structural failure.
And of course, we have to talk about safety. This is absolutely non-negotiable. It all starts with using quality materials and building on a level foundation. Every single truss needs to be secured properly. And, crucially, always use the right safety gear, especially when you're working up high.
I know that's a lot to remember, so I've got a really easy memory tip for you to lock it all in. Just think of 3 letters, TRC. T is for the trusses, that's the skeleton of the roof. R is for the rafter math, that's the blueprint that ensures a perfect fit. And C is for the covering, the protective skin. Skeleton, blueprint, skin. TRC. Easy, right?
At the end of the day, a roof is so much more than just a cover to keep the rain out. It really is the crown on your home. It's responsible for its safety, its integrity, its protection, and by understanding how it's built, from that skeleton to the blueprint to the skin, we can really appreciate what it takes to make sure that crown is built to last.